Hello, everybody. Good morning. Sorry, I'm running a tiny bit late. Let me get a screen up really quick. Let's go. Okay. We are back live. How's everyone doing? Let's have a look. Eric Lake, good morning to you, my friend. Mark, good morning. First time here. Mark, great to have you here. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Mark. You're the best coach. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Holy Earth, good morning. How are you? Ange, Crypto, everyone's back. Amazing. All right, let's have a look at this open. What just happened? I've also been playing around with the indicator with ChatGPT. The one I feel like it's quite dark here. I haven't got my light on. 1 second. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So if you guys remember, I was talking about this indicator with chat that I created with ChatGPT, and this time I played around with it, and it doesn't anymore. Like once it calls a signal, it doesn't take it away anymore. So I've been kind of looking at what it's doing, and I mean, considering how crazy this market's been recently, it's kind of calling it quite well, I would say, for the most part. So still probably need to play around with the settings a bit. But yeah, looking quite good. Ronald, good to see you. How are you, Ronald? Oh, look at this sell-off. So today, news-wise, we had some crazy stuff happen, right? I saw on Financial Juice earlier. Let me get this up on Financial Juice. It's all kicking off right now. Okay, really, it's all kicking off. There's constantly new news coming out, obviously about Iran. It's a very, very dangerous market to trade right now because one single thing, boom, goes the other way. Boom, goes the other way. So here, if US attacks Iran's power plants, the entire region of Saudi Arabia will fall into complete darkness. That's not good. And then Trump said something earlier about this. This is worrying. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. I mean, take that how you want, but that doesn't sound good. But the market didn't react as crazy as you would expect. I mean, it sold off a bit, but it bounced back quite quickly. I would say if you feel like a day off today, take a day off from trading, because it's all kicking off, and there's just no clarity at all. There is no clarity at all. Peter, good to see you. How are you, Peter? Mohammed, hey, how are you as well? Neil, London session was mad today. It really was. Peter Cosmas, good to see you as well. And the VIX is just 25. Yeah, oh man. I mean, in terms of if we're going to trade technicals, the problem with a market like this, because it's so fundamentally driven, right? It doesn't, the technicals only matter partially, right? Like we got a nice little gap there. If the market touches it, would it be a good place to buy? Potentially, yeah. Normally it would. But if it touches it because something has come out because of Iran or whatever, this doesn't mean shit. It's not going to do anything. It's kind of, it's dangerous to trade just because you just don't know what is going to be said next. And just look at the open. The open was bullish for a bit and an instant reversal back to bearish. Now the bulls are coming back in. And remember, this indicator, this is basically only tracking people who are clearing levels. So big orders placed at clear levels, right? And you're seeing buyers, like in this candle, buyers and sellers are clearing both levels, up and down, meaning there is no clarity at the moment. The big boys in this market, half of them think it's going up, the other half think it's going down. Apparently some think it's going down right now. I mean, you're always going to be suspicious when heavy volume just sort of enters the market. Either it's news related or someone is front running and they know something's about to come out. So the last one, we saw that already. That was about, but look, buyers are just buying it straight back up again. Yes, granted that those were some stops getting hit most likely, but not all of it. It's a tough one. But either way, I'll try and trade it. But you have to, I mean, this is a scalper's market. There's no long-term swing trading, intraday trading here. You got to scalp it. Like there, we're seeing a lot of sell pressure come back in, fresh sell pressure. Now, will these guys be effective and hold this market? That's the question. Or are they going to drop out the moment we go above them? And you're already seeing some of them dropping out, like they're gone. Fresh sellers came in heavy here. Instantly, buyers taking it over. They're all dropping out. This is the problem. And the same shit's going to happen to the buyers in a minute. So you get this kind of really choppy market, up and down, up and down. You don't really know how long to hold it. Like, say we took this buy. Okay, you can look at the order flow, but I would just say, get out, candle for candle, essentially. If you're in profit, get the hell out. Don't take any risks in this market. Yeah. Coach V, good morning to you. Eric is long on on oil. He's long. Peter Cosmas, that post about the end of civilization has to be read on true media. It does not mean what mass media are trying to say. So was that the actual quote? Like what, Peter, in which way did he mean it? Because I just saw it on here, so I don't know. I don't follow him on Truth Social or anything, so I don't know. Maybe it was taken out of context. I hope it was, because it sounds very. It sounds. I mean, I'm worried, man. Like, truth be told. Neil, hello Sam. First time here, but been following for the past month. Keep it coming. Amazing. Thank you. Oh, sorry, it's not Neil. It's Nelly. Nelly. Thank you, Nelly. Anyway, I'm lucky to be down only $30. It is tits up all day. Absolutely. Daniel, good to see you. Go to Forex Factory news page. Let's take a look at Forex Factory. I don't think there's anything scheduled today, really. Nothing major when I looked earlier. Yeah, we've got nothing really worrying coming out. So scheduled news is not an issue for me. But again, buyers have come in, the indicator has triggered it. But boy, oh boy. Read the post I'm in. Where is the post? Here it is. Oh, okay, so it's a much bigger, what do you call it? A whole civilization will die tonight, never be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have a complete and total to regime change, where see, they didn't put the whole post in, did they? Change where different, smarter, and less radical minds prevail. Maybe something revolutionarily wonderful will happen. Who knows? We'll find out tonight. Okay, so this is basically about the peace deal, right? Okay. All right, so it's not as terrible as. Thank you for that, Peter. Yeah, because the way Financial Juice just had the first sentence, I was a bit like, holy shit! It's like getting mental. But my oh my! I mean, all right, let's mark out interesting lows, highs, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we've got some big swings. Again, look at this. Sellers are trying to take over. The seller's going to squeeze out these buyers. I imagine below here, if we see a big pop. Yeah, we saw a bit of volume come in. Let's see what the fresh volume looks like. Again, buyers buying it up very quickly. So we got a bunch of buyers. You can see that was all negative and then it went into the positives. That means a lot of buyers have come in here. Sellers are also coming in. They're pushing it back. So this is buyers and sellers, new sellers coming in, new buyers coming in. Who wins here will give us our trade. It looks like buyers might just take it. Let's have a look. That 322 on the buy side. Let's see if they hold. I'm going to go in buy real quick. See if we can get just one little push up again. Maybe back up to here. Otherwise, my stop has to be below here. This is a very tough market. Let's see if the buyers can... Basically, we don't want to get below those buyers. They're the ones who came in hard. We want to see if we can... I mean, I will keep my take profit higher up, but I'll manually get out. And I can see right now, you know what? These things are too small. I need to make them bigger. I can barely make out what's happening. Sellers came in really heavy there. We're out. By the looks of it, those buyers might not hold. Look, they've eaten them up already. All right. I mean, technically, I'm still in, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get stopped out here. You never know. Fresh buyers are coming in. They might have just held it. But I think the sellers came in very heavy here. I am actually going to make this smaller again. I think 4 was a little bit better. It was just a bit too hard to see the exact area. But it's so choppy. Buyers are trying to come in, but the sellers never got squeezed out, so they weren't ready. I mean, buyers might be able to do it again. So a big chunk come in. But I kind of got this feeling sellers are not going to give up here. There's more buyers coming in, 500, but they're not pushing the market up. That means sellers are absorbing them. All right. So that is I don't think the buyers are going to take control here, at least not yet. But I do think they will take control again very quickly at some point. Let's see what these buyers do. 200 contracts in, 2 full. They are reloading, these buyers. They are eager. I think they might be able to squeeze the sellers out here. All right, let's go in one more time again. Otherwise, we'll call it, and no more buying until we get further down. And then we'll look more for shorts. But I feel, because this is a lot of sell volume that came in, right, on these last few candles, this move down here. If we can get above the majority of them, I can imagine there will be a lot, but the sellers are still coming in. I can imagine there'll be a nice pop if we can squeeze them out. Because I don't think too many buyers have actually got squeezed out either. When we cleared the lows, we didn't see a huge spike in volume. So I do have this feeling buyers are holding on quite aggressively, and they're willing to keep entering at the lows. So they might just sellers are coming in. They might just be a little bit more aggressive than the sellers. And I think if we get a little bit higher, the sellers are going to calm off a bit and might drop out a little bit. And if they do, that gives us the movement. Come on. Just trying to keep my eye on the live numbers coming in, but these sellers are coming in. Look, again, a big seller came in. It just printed the bear. We want to get above that seller. We don't want to this person here. We need to get above them. They're still quite eager to short low down. If you imagine how low down we are in comparison, they're still eager to short, which is a bad sign. Now, I need to see buyers get above this 456. But the sellers are plunging in. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to. I'm seeing the buy numbers are just not coming in right now. They've kind of a little bit. You're seeing a trickle of buyers come in. We go to 160, 200, and then it goes maybe a little bit down, but those numbers aren't dropping. You know, they're going more negative. They're not going more, getting pushed back, which is unfortunately a bad sign for us. So I do think this is pretty much, unless buyers happen to come in. That's the only thing. They came in a little bit there. They dropped it down, but you can see the candle does move up. So buyers are quite good at pushing the market up a little bit with the little volume that they do bring in, but the sellers are just a little bit more aggressive here. So there's buyers getting stopped out, including me. 500. See how that spiked? That's the buyers getting stopped out. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll have to wait. I just don't think. I see again. Then the buyers, the moment they get stopped out, they're willing to come back in. They're not giving up either, the buyers. Do you see what I mean? They're just not giving up. But the sellers aren't giving up either. All right, we're going to have to wait until one of them just gives up, because this is just not going to happen otherwise. We're not going to get clean movement until one side are willing to give up. We do know buyers have exited. A decent amount exited here, right? Now we're seeing not that much buy pressure. It looks like the buyers might just hold off a bit here. We're not seeing huge buy numbers coming in anymore. A little bit. Now they're coming in a little bit more aggressive. Nah, not yet. Not yet. Let's see what the chat says while we wait. Peter, the market will be completely glued to whatever, not run, and no one can predict this shit right now. It could literally go either way. You're right, bro. Candle by candles to play for now. Okay, time for a joke. I tried. Absolutely, Peter. Yeah, no one can predict what's going to happen now, because it's purely driven by what's coming out here. I feel like today is a very, very dangerous day. Very, very dangerous. Let's look at the... I tried trading candlesticks, but the big wicks kept fooling me. Turns out they weren't signals, just the market wicking my patience away. Why are you still looking for longs? Would be making money shorting? Because this market is... I'm just reading the order flow, you know? I'm looking for the best potential move in terms of risk reward, right? So let me try break this down for you. All right, you could short here, but you know the lower down we go, the more aggressive the buyers are going to get, because this is a very 50-50 market right now, right? Is my mic low? Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully my volume's all right. Test. I don't know. Hopefully you can hear me. What was I saying? Sorry, to Nana. I'm going to say Nan or Nana. Sounds a bit weird if I say Nan. Yes, Nana. So it all comes down to probability, right? So for example, the reason I longed it here was because two things could happen. Obviously, you can go down or you can go up, right? But if it was to go up, if these buyers were just a little bit more aggressive and got this market, you know, above maybe here, these sellers would be squeezed out and we would get a very nice pop. And we could potentially pop all the way back up again, giving us, you know, the best risk reward, right? And my stop as can be only down here. Now, if I shorted it, okay, the reality is buyers are going to keep coming in on these levels all right, you could still catch a short, don't get me wrong, you could still catch it, but your risk reward won't be as good, because you can really only go to these lows for now, right? So the closer we get to that low, the more dangerous it becomes to short. Does that make sense? Unless something comes out and then it's just right? Because look, buyers keep buying it up. Buyers are constantly buying it up. And the moment sellers exit the market, it's going to release that pressure and buyers will be able to take over. So I wouldn't be surprised if, as we get closer to these lows, buyers are going to find more aggression. Sellers are probably going to be like, all right, time to take some money out this market, relax a bit. and then we have a push up, unless something comes out news-wise, which again, then it can go up or down. Who knows, right? Depends what. Oh, what's this? Iran closes all diplomatic and indirect channels of contact with the US. Well, that ain't good. When did that come out? 36. I didn't see that earlier. Okay, so around here. Fair enough, fair enough. But I hope that kind of makes sense. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, perfect. Glad you can all hear me. I'm watching session VWAP and CVD. It's many aggressive selling. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of aggressive selling. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of aggressive selling happening. I just don't want to short it at the low, essentially. That's why I said I'm going to wait now for it to go a little bit lower down then before I look for a buy again. Now, in terms, look, if we get a bit more, if we can get a bit higher up, right? If the market can go maybe around here or here, then it will be a good time to short, potentially, right? If you see loads of sellers come in again, then it'll be a good time to short. But while we already made kind of the majority of the move down, oh, this is looking a bit better. Now buyers are starting to, you see how sellers are getting trapped a little bit at the bottom here. This could be a good play, potentially. Just want to see if sellers are willing to keep coming in. Looks like some of them, yeah, you're seeing that number drop down a bit. So sellers are still shorting it lower down. But buyers are still very aggressive. It wouldn't be, just trying to check if any sellers are coming in. It doesn't look like they are. This might be a bit of a squeeze here. 300. Oh, shit. It's already jumped up massively. This might be a bit of a squeeze. Let's just see if the buyers can now get that squeeze going. Oh, I'm going to have to set a stop. Really, below that candle. I wouldn't want it to go much lower than that. But if I see sellers come in, I'm going to get out because I've got a bad price on this one. The candle just jumped just as I clicked buy. I was expecting to buy lower down like here, and then it freaking gapped up, annoyingly. I'm seeing sellers still coming in. I want to see buyers reload. 190. 74 sellers are willing to jump back in again. Let's see if we can get above those sellers quickly. If we can, it's okay. But if not, as a big chunk of sellers just jumped in, 200. I don't think it's ready just yet. Nah, it's not ready. Buyers are buying it around that 418. Really is kind of where the buyers are propping it up. We need to get above those sellers quickly. It has to be done quickly. If it takes too long, then the interest gets lost. But if we really see, the sellers are still able to take control ever so slightly. But I'll give the buyers a little bit more time to just add a bit more size into this market. 240, 280, 275, 230, 290. All right, little bit. There it is. They did defend. That 418 did defend, which is good. Now I want to see sellers get stopped out. Around here, sellers might get squeezed out. We're seeing them get it squeezed out now. So this is important. Are sellers going to want to short here? Or because if they're going to start jumping in, I'm getting out. I'm not going to hold it. This is the first area you would expect sellers to start coming in again. So I need to see buyers stay aggressive. Buyers have to keep reloading, adding more to get through that area. Otherwise, if they stop and buyers take profit and get out the market, well, then sellers can take control very quickly. But it's looking okay. I'm seeing 800. I need to see, there's clearly an iceberg there. We need to break through it with a lot more volume. 900, good. Come on, that's it. Okay, we broke through it. Keep adding volume. 200, back down to 39, 100, 59, 148 buyers are still willing to buy, which is okay. But they gotta get above. They gotta keep that momentum. Sellers are absorbing them. Yeah, look, sellers are willing to start shorting a little bit, but as long as we stay above them, that's a big chunk of buy volume. Good. We want to keep seeing those buyers. We're getting to the next area where I expect sellers to start coming in soon. But you see how buyers just failed a bit higher up there? I don't like it. I think I'm going to out. Don't like it. I don't like how buyers failed at the top here. Waiting for this to flush a bit lower. There is a 1 hour demand zone that starts at 6595. What was it? 6595. Okay, down here. 595. Oh yeah. See, I've got this area marked out as well. It's a really nice gap, that area. Let me go on a 15-minute. I can probably see it. Where is it? There it is. Really, really nice gap in volume. So I've got this area as well marked out, Neil. That's going to be an interesting one for me. But yeah, it's just the sellers have come back in quite aggressively. But to be fair, they're not as aggressive as I expected. I think sellers are also holding off just a little bit. Now they're coming in a little bit more. But yeah, I really didn't like what I saw there. We had a big chunk of buy volume came in. I think there was like 300, 200, something like that. And it just instantly got pushed down and the numbers closed quite low. So didn't like it. Didn't like it. And we're below London VWAP too. Good morning, ZT Content. Good morning. Yes, I hope everyone had a good weekend as well. Yeah, sellers have taken control again very quickly. Man, it's a choppy market, isn't it? Very, very choppy, this market. Let's see. Yeah, I think a lot of this volume here is actually buyers getting stopped out. A lot of the volume here are buyers who did buy in this little move up, basically all getting out. And now this is fresh sell volume for the most part coming in. So this candle is more interesting for me. If we don't really go above the candle, it might be okay for shorting, actually. Yeah, there's more sell volume. It wouldn't look terrible for a potential short. I just don't like shorting when we're really low down, and I can see buyers are still interested at buying in these levels. So I'm going to hold off for short for now, because I can still see buyers coming in. But it really is this candle here that's going to determine it. You see buyers are willing to come in, potentially trap some of these sellers. If we see clear kind of good rejection, if we get a bit higher up and we see, sellers are protecting basically the top of this candle, then I'll be interested in shorting it. But I do like how the sellers absorbed a lot of those buyers very quickly, which is good. But buyers are right now the more aggressive side, right? We haven't really seen. We're seeing a bit of sellers, actually, not a huge amount, but we are. Yeah, they've taken. Yeah, they came in all right there. Yeah, so all right, I'm not going to chase it, but Semi, can you please anchor session VWAP? I want to show you something. Sure. VWAP. VWAP. Let me just double check it's the session. It should be. All right. Nana. I have anchored the VWAP. Let me know what you want to show me. Oh yeah, it did take out the low there. Oh shit. Oh, that's very interesting. We got a shit ton of buyers came in at the low. So we didn't see. That's very interesting right here. That doesn't look good for. Okay, that's very interesting. So buyers are coming in. The moment we took out the low, a big buyer came in. I'm going to keep my eye on what this person potentially is trying to do. Because I have a feeling they might actually push this market up. Another 500. I'm gonna try and wait, see if we can get to that area there, that gap. But that is quite interesting. Because we didn't really see stops. I mean, we would have seen some stops. That would have been some stops and whatever. But we just saw a chunk of buy volume come in. Let's see what happens here. Come on. Get a little lower. Get a little lower. Come on. Come on, you bastard. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's being the suspense. Come on. I am very. I want to see, will these buyers exit? Do we see like a big spike in sell volume? If not, they don't exit. That means they're holding and they probably know something. Because that was a very ballsy move. That was a very ballsy move from them. Very ballsy. I'm gonna go in one position long. I think that was a bit of I don't know. I'm gonna get rid of a take profit. I'm not gonna have a take profit. I do need to set a stop though. It's a little. I don't want to set it just below that candle because I feel like we can fluctuate a little bit. So I'm gonna have a bit of a bigger. Make it $110. That's fine. But I'm all the position if I see, because I have this feeling that it's very rare to see, once we take out a significant low, to see a bunch of buyers come in. Normally you would see take profits, so you'll see a bunch of sell orders or stops getting hit, so again sell orders. To see a big chunk of buyers come in all at once is actually it's quite rare to see. So I feel like they know something. Theoretically, what it could also be, what I'm not factoring in, it could also be any seller who was in this market exiting manually. So literally clicking the exit. But I doubt, it could be, but I doubt it's that. I feel like they were fresh buyers. If it is someone exiting manually, then that's slightly annoying because then but we shall see. I want to see, do they keep adding more volume? Is there like a big chunk of volume all at once on the buy side comes in? That's what I'm trying to look out for here. But I'm just seeing like the volume is just trickling right now. It's not jumping in chunks, like big chunks at least. So I haven't seen, because if that is a fresh buyer, you would expect them to do what they've always done in the last few weeks now. When it is insider trading, they add chunks, big chunks out of nowhere. But it doesn't look like they're doing it. Sellers are still in this market. Sellers are still shorting. I'm expecting, but that buyer hasn't exited either. They're still in the market, which is kind of a good sign. Oh, what happened there? I didn't see what happened there. Was that always 300 before? I don't know. I can't remember now. I took my eyes off it for a second. Come on, where's the chunk? I feel like that was insider trading. I've yet to see them exit. I mean, I guess actually, to be fair, the volume did spike a bit in this area here. So that could have been them exiting, but I just don't think, I don't know. Oh, what the hell? It's a big, big amount of sell volume coming in. Nah, I think I was wrong. I think it was just, I don't think it was a fresh buy. There's all the exits. Yeah, I don't know. I thought there for a second that was suspicious, but apparently not. Apparently not. That is a lot of sell volume that just came in out of nowhere. All right, back to the chat. Not that one, the one where the fixed range volume profile is. Oh, I know what you're on about. Okay, my bad. I know what you're on about. Yes, it was here somewhere. Anchored VWAP. There we go. So from the beginning of the session, yeah, you want me to anchor it? So from like here. Okay. It's anchored now. We are anchored. Oh, something come out. I mean, it doesn't look like news. That happened too slow. It didn't really look like news, but something is we just cleared that area like nothing though. Let's just reload just in case. No, I don't see anything coming out. Looks like the sellers will short every Bob looking to fill singles left from the second. Not saying we can't make money, then we're stuck in the latest squeeze, but I think they're looking for singles. Yeah. How can you tell if that large buyer hasn't exited yet? I think he did exit in the end. I think it was like around here he exited. It's because, all right, the way you can tell normally is, so imagine you bought here. Imagine you were that buyer. Oh, that's huge. Why is that huge? Let me change it. There we go. Imagine you bought here. In fact, let me do it this way. That's actually easier. Like this. Your stop will be, I mean, it's a bit hard to actually measure where the stop will be because if they bought there, God knows where their stop is, right? It will be based on some kind of logic, right? Their stop. So you would have to look at like higher time frames, maybe. I mean, it's very hard to know, but normally the stop will be somewhere where, you know, makes sense, right? Below a low or something. Now, of course, if they actually did buy here, the only low would be here. So I don't think their stop will be necessarily there, but maybe it'll be, you know, nearby somewhere. Now, as we started going down, you would expect maybe their stop would be below here. And we didn't really see in the moment as we cleared that low. Let me just draw it out. As we cleared, you know, this low here, below there, we didn't see in the moment in here, like, all right, it is a bit bigger, the number, but as it actually went there, we didn't see the number spike. Do you know what I mean? Like it trickled into a big number. It didn't spike into that big number, meaning it wasn't stops getting hit, right? It was just general kind of, you know, overall volume coming through, like because it trickles in rather than like one big hit where all of a sudden boom and the number just appears, right? So that was my, so I thought there they didn't get stopped out, but I do think they got stopped out lower down here. I think around here is where their stop was in the end. Around here, they kind of got stopped out. So, but I found it suspicious that they bought the moment the low got cleared. I just found that a little bit suspicious because you don't see that very often. You know, normally when a low gets cleared, you see like here, right? Let me show you. Like when we take out a low, like we took out this low here, when it moves down, you will see generally only big sell numbers come in. And that's because on the footprint, if you're in a short position, any longs, basically, their stops will look like sells, right? And any take profits, so TPs, for sellers will also look like sells. So that's why you always see like a big chunk of sell volume when like a low gets cleared or hit or whatever, right? Because it's either buyers, and it's a mixture of two. It's either buyers getting stopped out or sellers taking profit. And it's probably a mixture of two. So when you see just a bunch of fresh buyers come in, it's a bit rare to see that. And you never normally see, you know, like when we took out this low, it was all sellers. Then buyers came in. Sure, these buyers came in. These fresh buyers took a little while, but they did come in. They didn't come in the moment it got clear. The moment it took out the low, they didn't jump in. So it was a little bit suspicious in my book that happened. I thought maybe this person knows something, but apparently not. Apparently they were just, you know, they didn't know anything. They just bought and got it wrong. So fair enough to them. Anchor to New York Open. Gotcha. Okay, let me do New York Open anchor. I've got to zoom out 1 second. This is. Where is it? Give me a second. It's here somewhere, isn't it? Is this it? There. All right, I've anchored it to NY Open. It is a big sell-off so far. Ooh, this is interesting. All right, this is very interesting. These guys here are vulnerable. I'm again, call me crazy, but I'm looking at a long again. Potentially, if these guys get squeezed out, but it looks like they're defending. If we got higher than them for a bit, that wouldn't have. Again, it looks like a nice long. I think there is still a huge amount of buyers still willing to come in every time. These guys are interesting as well. They're interesting. Oh, that's interesting as well. Okay, so what we see here, we know this is all fresh volume, right? That is a big chunk of sell volume that could potentially get squeezed out. I am liking that. Call me crazy, I'm going in long again because I have this feeling they're going to squeeze these fuckers out. They are far too vulnerable. They are far, far too vulnerable, those sellers. That is a lot of sell volume. But I do need to put a stop. And realistically speaking, my stop, look, it can be below here. But because it's quite wicky, this market, I'm going to put it below that 458. 458. So maybe like, it's hard to know exactly where it is, but around here somewhere. All right. Hopefully these buyers can do it now, because if they do, those sellers need to drop out. And if they do drop out, we could have a very nice move. because you can see the buyers actually attacking those sellers there. They are genuinely attacking those sellers. That is a lot of volume just spread out in a fine area. And that makes it extremely, extremely vulnerable. Now, these sellers are trying to defend it. They're trying to defend their stops here. And look, they could be very successful and they could defend it and push it back down. That's more than possible. Very, very easily possible. But if the buyers are just a little bit more aggressive, we should see those sellers drop out any second now. We're getting a little bit higher. Boom. There's some stops got hit. You saw that spike really quick to 400. But I feel they could do more damage here. Buyers are very aggressive. I feel like they could. I should have put 2 contracts on that because that did look really nice. There's definitely sellers dropping out the market. So this volume here now is basically just sellers exiting, right? What needs to happen in order for this move to continue, if we have any chance of a move up, these numbers here need to increase and not decrease. So you're seeing how, like, it's not looking good right this second. It's not looking good. I'll be honest. It's not looking good. I need to see buyers come in fresh and get above that 600 very quickly. And look, sellers are just willing to come back in, unfortunately. They didn't, those buyers just couldn't do it. They were almost there. They just couldn't do it. They didn't add the volume after the stops got hit. And sellers have taken that opportunity as a new opportunity to short, and buyers are just not putting in the volume where it matters. Because they'll put it on lower down, that's fine. Buyers are happy to buy down here to create a small move, but once we take out their stops, they're not willing to add more volume. They just kind of get shy to buy near the highs, and that makes perfect logical sense, right? It's scary to buy higher up, but they need to keep buying. They need to outpace the sellers need to be more aggressive than the sellers. Now we're getting a little trickle, but it's not enough. It's just not enough. Sellers are still willing to short more aggressively than buyers are. So unfortunately, look at that, 300, 200. Okay, if we can get above that 300 quickly, good, just like that. Take their volume. Okay, this might be that finally came in. That went to 300 and then instantly dropped. That looked good for a second there. But they need to keep doing it, buyers. But we have to take out these highs. We have to do it. If we have any hope, I need to see the buy volume is just not coming in. The moment you get a little bit higher, the buyers step off. They're not willing to keep adding. A little bit now they're adding 170, but look, sellers have come straight back in. It's just not happening, unfortunately. All right, back down to 50, 37. All right, so buyers are willing to, okay. So we've identified where most buyers are willing to kind of transact. Buyers are happy to buy once there's a bit of a pullback, but they need to be able to be happy to add volume to momentum because they're just not willing to do that right now. But something is going on here. There's a lot of movement here. So this could be, I'm going to hold it because this could be very interesting here. I'm seeing buyers happy to transact a little bit higher now, finally. But we need to see that number keep increasing. 230. Sellers are willing to, like, we can't even take out 41. All right, we just took it out. 76, 200. That's a bit better. Bigger numbers higher up, right? And scare those sellers from trying to enter again. There we go. Ooh, yeah. There's a lot of sellers got stopped out, but we need to see, 200, 300, get it to 400. Come on, get it up higher. 200. I need to see buyers willing to keep like a snowball effect, right? If you have any chance of this market moving up fast, we need momentum, and momentum's only created by buying at the top. Basically, we need buyers willing to buy at the top. 280, 34, 31. It's still, the numbers aren't increasing. Buyers are willing to back off a little bit, which is not good, which now gives sellers potentially the opportunity to push it down. But okay, a little bit there. 140, 200. All right, okay, good. 200. See, the moment the buyers are willing to transact, it goes nicely up. 300. Come on, get it to 400. That's it. Good. 230. That's it. Good, good, good. We want to get above those sellers quickly. Don't allow them any. That's it. Very nice. 300, 400. That's it. There's a lot of sellers there getting squeezed out. Let's get above them very quickly. Beautiful. All right. Now there's the momentum's coming in a bit. Got to keep it up. Got to keep it up. Don't let any sellers. 500, 500. Come on, get that to 600. Don't drop down. 4, 3. Sellers are coming in again. Come on, buyers. A little bit more. Sellers are coming in a bit heavier now. I think I'll take it. I think that's all right. I mean, it could keep going up, to be fair, but I think I'll take it there. Just because I know this market is very scalpy. I'm not going to push my luck here. All right. Sorry, what was Nana? You wanted to show me something on VWAP. Motivation Masters Daily. Hello, how are you? See how we just respecting it and the deviation bands. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, respecting it very nicely. Very, very nicely. Yeah, VWAP is very good. I don't get me wrong. Like, I have no problem with VWAP. I fully believe it's a very useful tool. The issue I have is more my own personal issue. I become a little bit, what's the word? It's just another distraction from the numbers I'm seeing. Do you know what I mean? And then it adds a little bit of a bias. I want to kind of be completely bias free when I trade. Does that make sense? Like, this could go down, this could go up. And try and see equal sides, because when you have a bit of a bias, what happens is you only see the positive of your side, right? So say you have like a really, really big short bias right now. All your mind will only pick up on the shorts and be like, oh, it's got to go down. Look at the set. And you're ignoring what's actually happening on the buy side. Do you know what I mean? And I'm very susceptible to that. When I get a bias in my head, I can become blind to the other side. And it hits me it really does hurt me. So I always try to remind myself, have no bias, unless there's like a really obvious bias, like if the market is just, ridiculous or something that, once in a while. But when the market's like this, where realistically speaking, let's be honest, this could go up, this could go down. This is a very skitsy market, it can rotate very quickly. I want to keep my bias completely flat. It could, like right now, I want to be able to see potential shorts, potential buys, and I want to just read what I'm seeing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm ignoring even the indicator thing. I'm just completely ignoring it because it's going to affect my bias. So that's the only reason I tend to not use like moving averages or VWAP or whatever, just because they do play with my bias a little bit. But if it helps you in your trading, absolutely use it. Like, ES is holding near 1 hour. Careful, there is a imbalance right above the footprint 4 hour. Autumn, trying to long on NQ. Come on, Sammy, let's convert you to a VWAP. It's not ICT. It includes volume data in there. No, I totally get it, man, Peter. Like, I 100% get it. I 100% get it. I completely get it. Like for example, right? If I knew this was VWAP when I was in this trade here, I probably would have exited purely based because I'm like, VWAP, and all those buyers might not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it affects my decision process, not because sometimes it can be negative, sometimes it can be positive. It can absolutely save me as well on trades, right? But I just don't want a bias. Do you know what I mean? I purely want to see what I'm purely just trying to track who's in the market, who's out the market, who's in the market, who's out the market. That's all I want to track. So if we look at, let me get rid of this black line because that was a long time ago. Where would all the sellers potentially have their stops? I think a majority of the sellers on this move down have already exited. They're all out. That's what all these spikes in volume are, right? That was a bunch of sellers getting stopped out. We saw it here somewhere as well. There. That's all stops getting cleared. All this is fresh volume, right? Below that low. That 549 just above, that is most likely, no, that wouldn't be stops. We touched it already. Those are buyers, fresh buyers, who might get squeezed out. So if again, sellers could squeeze out those buyers and bring this back down. It looks like they might do it. Now, I haven't really tracked in these last few candles how aggressive each side was, but I'm not really seeing that many. There's buyers coming in trying to defend this area at the bottom here. So we might see below that line, we might see some stops from the buy side piled up around here. But buyers are willing to defend at this moment in time. If they fail, this could be a good short. And it looks like they might just fail here. Dun, dun, dun. Peter, the VWAP and stochastics with my NY session cumulative volume down. I'm trying to convince Sammy as well. Nana, look, if you're everyone has their own style, right? If it works for you, more power to you. Use it. I just know, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to, give it a go and play around with it, but I'm so set in my ways as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, look, buyers weren't allowed to, like here again, right? I was saying around this area here, you're most likely going to have a bunch of buy stops, right? So buyers, oops, that was terrible. Buy S, BS. A lot of BS there, right? A lot of buyers, stop losses. And the question we need to ask ourselves is, are buyers going to defend, which they just did, or are they going to accept their loss and get out? And buyers are still defending, meaning it's unlikely we're going to push down below here right this moment, right? So it's probably not a good idea to short right this second, because buyers are still willing to defend. So if they're still willing to defend, they haven't given up yet. If they haven't given up, all right, don't get me wrong, sellers could come in here now like they are and try and go in for round two and squeeze them out. But right this second, Do you know what I mean? Buyers are not willing to give up. If they're not willing to give up, the market is not going to get below here. There's only two ways that the market's going to get below here. Either sellers go completely mental and just add so much volume that they just completely, gap the market. That's possible. But that's usually news related or whatever, right? Or buyers give up. Now, buyers might exit at the top here. Some of these buyers, they might say, you know what, this is a battle I don't like being in. I'm going to get out the market, and they might just all get out here, and that releases that pressure, and then sellers can come back in and drop the market. That could happen as well, right? But we don't know yet. We don't know. We have to see one side give up. But sellers haven't given up either. So maybe not a good idea to also buy at the top here. And I think what we're going to see now is because buyers aren't willing to accept loss at the bottom here, sellers aren't willing to accept the loss at the top, it's just going to start creating a range then. And that is how a range comes to be, right? Because you just got two stubborn sides. All the buyers want to be like, nope, 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 we're going to keep buying every time it gets to the bottom. Sellers are going to be like, nope, 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 going to keep shorting when it gets to the top. Eventually, someone's going to, going to lose, but that can go on for a little while depending on how stubborn everyone is. But then eventually, something happens and then it moves. So I think we're entering a bit of a range here for now. But I do like it as well. I like your way I'm using you as an indicator. 80% of all the volume of market makers and liquidity providers doing their thing. Exactly. VWAP is dynamic order flow, but volume profile is fixed one. Mohammed, I mean, volume profile isn't fixed. Volume profile is dynamic, 100% dynamic. This updates as every candle goes on. It does update and takes into consideration all the volume. So it is 100% dynamic. Now, of course, if you're only drawing, I'm going to get rid of this indicator because this is just filth, right? But if you're only drawing like an anchored volume profile from one area to another area, then yeah, of course, this is going to be static because it's only measuring this area here, the volume, right? It's only doing it from this area. But if you got the session volume profile on, it will keep updating as the session goes on. It is 100% dynamic. It is very dynamic. All right, let's go back into the footprint. Looking at this market condition, Sammy's way of analyzing is superior. It's very tough, Peter. I got to say, in these market conditions, I think the best way of trading is to not trade, truth be told. Oh, look at that. Buyers just took out all those sellers. Look at that. That was suspicious. Again, something isn't right. Okay. The White House denies Washington intention to use nuclear weapons in Iraq. Okay, so that was that. All right, that was news. But again, like I said, the range will only hold. There's only two ways. Sorry, my little robot Hoover's just started talking. Yeah, there's only two ways that could happen. Either full aggression comes in because of something like news like this, and that will eventually, take out all the sellers. So all the sellers here who had their stop loss, and you can literally see it all get triggered here, 404, 404. That is the only reason it's all the same numbers, because it gapped, right? It just wiped out all the volume on the book in that area, and therefore TradingView can't figure out exactly where each contract goes, so it just evenly distributes the total volume across the levels that are unaccounted for. So it looks like all the same number, but that's essentially just it gapping. But look, sellers aren't willing to give up either, though. And then buyers are still buying the bottom. So we're still actually in the range, believe it or not, by the looks of it. The news just kind of, caused a bit of a thing, but we're still very much in that range. Buyers are still willing to buy at the bottom. I mean, I would align myself more on the buy side simply because I think just logically, people are probably going to be more likely to want to buy at the bottom. They'll feel more comfortable buying at these lows than sellers potentially shorting at the lows. Does that make sense? Because the only way we're going to actually break the lows is sellers have to be willing to short at the bottom of what looks like a range, right? And they're going to be more aggressive at shorting than buyers are at buying the lows. And that's why ranges can take freaking forever to break sometimes, because it does unfortunately require the kind of opposite mentality. Do you know what I mean? Of what most people would want to do in order to break that range. But it doesn't look like there's much right this second. Indicators don't predict the market. They just politely explain why you lost money after it already happened. NQ might take yesterday's low very close to it. Where is the ES actually in regards to yesterday's low? I think we took it. Did we? Oh, no, we didn't. Let me get rid of that. So yesterday's low is all the way down here. Let me compare that to NQ, actually. This is a good idea to do. We'll go to NQ real quick. I just want to see what Neil is. What's going on here? There it is. Oh, yeah, it got very close. Okay. Interesting. But that would make sense. I'm assuming, yeah, tech is always going to be a lot worse during a sell-off if it's war-related. The ES, I'm assuming the Dow is going to be a bit better. Yeah, so the Dow is similar to the ES, where it's a little bit higher. But the ES is actually doing better than the Dow, if I compare it. Yeah, it is. Okay, interesting. I would have expected the Dow to be the highest, NQ to be the lowest, and ES to be in the middle. But actually, the ES is slightly doing slightly better. So there's some company in the ES propping, I don't know. God knows. Let's have a look. We're cooked. Sammy, what you're essentially doing is what they used to call reading the tape, but you're just reading the difference between aggressive buyers and sellers. Pretty much, yeah. ZT content, pretty much. Absolutely. What is all the buying a short covering? Well, if all the buyers are shorts covering. I mean, there's going to be an element of that, 100%. There's always an element. But you're just looking for, like, where it makes sense. So, like here we got something interesting actually going on right now. It looks like, look, sellers are willing to now short lower down a little bit. This is the recipe for potentially breaking the range. If sellers are still willing to short lower down, and more sellers are willing to short lower down than buyers are willing to buy, we will break the range to the downside. And I'm just trying to see, are there buyers willing to come back in? If they've kind of given up, we could go in short. But there are still, you just got to wait a few seconds to kind of see the average. Like what I'm looking out for is like the average amount it changes. So we're at 230, went to 129. So that's, 100 buyers came in, another 200. That's like each chunk you saw a big 100 chunk contract order there from the buy side happen right there. Now, if the sell side, for example, averages down, so from look, sellers again added another 100, buyers put it to 193, 150, sellers have dropped another 50 or so. So it's quite level right now. Buyers and sellers are kind of adding similar sizes than each other in these areas. So if sellers get a little bit more aggressive and the buyers hold off a bit, we're dropping down. Or if buyers get more aggressive than sellers, we're going back up. So it really, you're just trying to gauge which one it is. Now, you're not always going to get it right because anything can happen. You could enter short right now, and then there'll be some dude out there who enters a huge amount on the buy side and pushes it up. That unfortunately can happen. But you're just trying to gauge, it looks like the sellers are just a little bit better here. 120, 90, 60, 120 again, 140, back to 130, 117, 140, drop it, 150. So buyers are coming in, 190, back to 160, 140. It's about the same. Sellers are willing to go a bit lower down now. Buyers are still coming in. This doesn't look bad for a potential short. I'm still not ready yet. I'm not super confident yet. 160. Buyers are still buying it up. There's a big chunk of buyers just came in there, but sellers instantly dropped them back down. Oh, this could be the sellers could take over here. I'm going to go in for a sell because realistically, again, if we get much higher than here, I want to be out because then I'm wrong. I'm going to see if because I saw big sellers come in nice and low. If they're willing to keep coming in lower and lower, we can get this market down. If not, realistically, I'll be wrong if we go higher than that. And I don't need to hold it any longer. And then who knows, we might go back down to the lows again. But I need to see sellers adding that volume the lower down we go. So again, dangerous to short at the bottom of a range, but the only reason I'm willing to do it is because I'm seeing sellers are willing, for the most part, to short lower down. Now I just need to hope that buyers aren't willing to keep buying. And if sellers keep that pressure going on, and I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing sellers again adding, which is good. And we do want to obviously mark out where the buyer's stops are going to be, probably below that low there. And we want to see what happens the moment buyers get stopped out. If they do get stopped out, look, they're starting to defend. As soon as they got in near the lows, those buyers are still clinging on. We need to beat them now. Sellers cannot let these buyers, bring it much higher. They need to push them down and sell aggressively against them. They can't allow these buyers to get any, but they allowed it. See, they just allowed the buyers to get a little bit too much aggression. All right, they've come in a bit more. It might not be over just yet. 54, 28, 34, -2. So sellers are coming in, but buyers just bought massive chunk there again. Those bastards. 300. I don't think it might happen here. Sellers don't push it down below those buyers quickly with a bit of momentum. It might not happen, but it looks like, okay, it's not completely over yet. The buyers gave one last shot at it. Hopefully sellers can squeeze them out here. They're still coming in, buyers, but I need to see sellers come in. -50, -70, -100, 140. So sellers are trickling in, but they're not trickling in big chunks. You see, we went from minus 140 back down to like plus 3 or something. That means one buyer came in and wiped all those sellers out. But the sell chunks are just trickling in 200, 260. They're going in maybe like 40, 30 contracts at a time. The sellers are coming in. They're not coming in chunks, which is not good. I need to see chunks, big chunks of sellers. Big chunks. 50. There's still small chunks. Buyers can easily beat that. There has to be chunks. 60, 80, look, 70 on the buy side, 100, 130, back down to 98. Sellers are just not. Personally, I'm kind of thinking of exiting here because I see the sellers aren't coming in. I'm going to give them another few seconds here. Anything might happen, but look at that. Buyers are coming in big and heavy on the. Again, sellers could try and take advantage here and sell aggressively against them, squeeze that buyer out, but that buyer is not letting go. But if it doesn't happen in the next, yeah, look, boom, they just came in too strong. Just there, you started seeing the sellers just weren't coming in chunks, right? And that buyer was just a little bit aggressive. Probably should have exited when I said I'm looking at exiting, but I thought, all right, we'll give it another few seconds. But you saw it happen in real time there. It's just that failure. You can just see it in the numbers, right? Let me get the pen tool. Look, sellers are now willing to short again at the top, but around this area here, in this area here, the sellers, they were coming in, but they weren't coming in chunks. They were coming in small amounts, 20 here, 30 here. Now they're coming in with a bit on chunks, but again, we know that there's this buyer in this market. They're not willing to let go, right? They're refusing to let go, this buyer. So until that buyer really lets go, we're not breaking these lows, unfortunately. We're not going back down until that buyer exits because they're propping the market up, unfortunately. So it is a bit annoying. It is a little bit annoying, but this is the type of market we're in. We're just in such a choppy market. I would absolutely love it if sellers could squeeze this guy out. But again, I do find that slightly suspicious, that volume there. I wouldn't be surprised again if we get a spike up from news. I mean, I'm just going to double check that wasn't anything news based. I don't think it. Oh, something happened, but that was 10 minutes ago. So that was back 35 past. So that was all the way down here somewhere. What did it say? Iran cut off communications. Yeah, okay, we heard about that. Threat to destroy Iran's wholesale line Monday morning. Though talks with ceasefire mediators continue. Okay, yeah, we saw that. That was nothing spectacularly new. All right, I'm going to hold off shorting, even though it looks like sellers really do want to squeeze this guy out. But the reason I want to hold off shorting, truth be told, this candle here was suspicious. Like, I get it. There's a buyer in the market, right? Protecting their stops at the bottom here. They added volume. Lately, I've just been, I don't know. It was suspicious. I'm going in for a buy because I think, do you know what I think? I think that's insider trading. I honestly, I think it's insider trading. It was too aggressive. Like, I get it. We're at the bottom of the range. You want to defend your stop. I 100% get that. But that was a little bit too. I saw that I think last week or the week before, we saw the same thing happen. There was like this buyer there that just became so aggressive at the bottom of the range. And then we had that news come out and it shot up. So I'm not even going to put a TP because who knows how high it will go, right? If I'm right. But in terms of my stop, I mean, look, We know that that buyer's stop is probably below here somewhere. It looks like they will defend their stop very, very aggressively. If, for example, all of a sudden we see them not defend, so if we don't see buyers willing to come in anymore at the bottom here, we can kind of deduce that they're no longer interested and better to get out of our position. So we can actually make a decision whether to stay in the market if we get below that kind of area, but we'll need to see it in real time exactly what goes on. So I'm going to have a stop that's a bit bigger because I need to have a stop to protect myself, but I don't want to have it super tight because I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. So I'm going to have a bit of a bigger stop. And here we go. Now we can see if buyers are willing to come back in. They're still willing to transact, that buyer, right? So this stop is just to secure me from, sudden news event or something, just so I obviously have to have some kind of stop, right? But this is where I am interested in. If buyers are not willing to come in really aggressively, they came in a bit aggressively, but not that aggressive. If I don't see that buyer come in again, or if I see their stops getting hit, which we haven't yet seen, they're still willing to come in, that buyer, but not that aggressive anymore. But they haven't exited either. They haven't exited. So I still think they're in the market, and I'm hoping that they're insider trading, because it felt very, very suspicious the way they jumped in. Now, normally I never trade like insider trading. Like, this is only something that recently I've kind of paid attention to. Normally I would just accept it as, well, that's just someone buying a lot because, they want to buy. I would never look at it as like, oh, this could be insider trading, jump on their order. But I really want to catch one of these news candles. I'm not going to lie. I really want to catch it. Nah, they haven't exited either, though. Look, as we took out the low of the range, did we see a massive spike in sell volume? No. We didn't at all. Now, we're not really seeing the buyer come in aggressively anymore, but that doesn't necessarily mean, they might come in still, but we didn't see them exit. And if they haven't exited, there's a reason for that. So I still think they are insider trading, in my personal opinion, because you would have expected a big chunk in that area. Now they're coming in again aggressively, adding more size to their position. All right, let's let it play out. Let's see if sorry, I've been ignoring the chat. I don't mean to ignore. Let me have a look. I'm trying to say your style is very similar to what they used to do in the old days, reading the tape. Absolutely, Zeta content. Yeah. You're a good man, Sam, helping us free and all. Thank you, Daniel. Hope your girlfriend/wife cooks good meals for you. Well, unfortunately, no wife, no girlfriend. I'm a single man. I cook my own meals, but it's all good. I like it that way. Dr. Kais, that's exactly what happened to me twice. I entered and then I got the big stick. I usually like to read the bid X ask footprint, because you can see the absorption, finished, non-finished auction, the highs and lows. Yeah, no, absolutely. See, I'm just trained my eyes to look at the delta and track the numbers as they change. But that's just because my eyes are used to it. So if I went to, the bid and ask, it would take me a while to kind of get used to it. And so again, it purely down to what do you call it? Your preference. How do you use your footprint to confirm entry, please? There's not like a exact thing you're looking for. It's more just sort of enter based on what you think is going on, you know? Like, I'm not entering, like, unless it's really hard to explain. Let me see how I can explain this. Sorry, one moment. I just want to keep my eye here to see if that buyer's coming back in. Otherwise, I want to get out. But they haven't exited. I just hate holding a position based on a hunch of someone doing insider trading, because it could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong here. It might not be insider trading. It might just be a person who's trading, you know, and got a really long stop. It could be that. But I'm basing it like, oh, it's got to be insider trading. Come on, you bastard. Where are you? No, I don't know. I really don't know. They're in the market. They haven't exited the market. Last time, I think it was last week, I was saying, no more am I going to try and copy insider trading trades. But I've done it again. I've done it again. But it looks suspicious to me. I'm sorry, that looked so freaking suspicious, that candle. Just the volume that came in, and it wasn't down to news, was it? 51. Okay, no, it wasn't that. No, there wasn't news that came out. OPEC output fell most in decades last month, according to survey. Okay. It's all oil related. Sorry, I will get to the chat in a second. I want to exit the market. Truth be told, I want to get out. But I haven't seen the buyer get out either. But I don't want to hold. I don't know where this person's stop is. This person could just be a maniac. This is like beyond what makes me comfortable right now. The fact that we drifted this far low down. I don't like the fact that all the buy volume is geared at the top. This goes against my trading. Do you know what I mean? But I'm purely making a bet that that buyer knows something. But they haven't exited, to be fair. They are still very much in the market. They have not left the market. And if they were a normal trader, I think they would have exited by now. Because look, they bought all the way up here. You know, their position might be, I mean, look, their stop could be below that low. That's possible. And they could just be looking for a really big trade. That is possible. They might not be a scalper. I'm guessing, you see, I'm about to get stopped out here. I didn't see the volume spike. It probably did spike. I don't know, to be honest. I didn't see what happened here. I don't know. I mean, it looks like they aren't. I mean, they could be an insider. I don't know. But they could just have a massive stop. But I haven't seen them exit. To be fair, it could have happened here. I didn't actually see what happened here because I had the chart zoomed out, so I don't know actually what happened here. Really don't know. They could have got out there. But as of yet, I still haven't seen a clear spike in the volume. Nothing came out, has it? No, nothing's come out. All right, I'm going to assume that buyer is out the market. I'm going to assume they trickled out. Maybe they didn't exit all in one chunk. Who knows? And that they weren't insider trading. They were just a crazy person who decided to buy really heavy. But then why were they protecting their stops so aggressively? And then they kept trying to protect. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Amit, it's, I believe, 4. Yeah, 4. Set on manual, ticks per row is 4. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out what that person's deal was. What were they trying to do? Because it happened twice. There, they went in really aggressive, 3,000 contracts. There again, another 3,000. But I haven't seen them leave. So they're in the market right now, basically around here. They were aggressively defending these lows. We never really saw them exit as we got below them. Sure, their stop could be below this low. That's more than possible. And they could be more of an intraday trying to look for a big move. But then why be so aggressive near those lows? Surely that their aggression should come in like around here now if they wanted to protect. And that's their stop. Do you know what I mean? Why be so aggressive at the bottom, quite high up here? Did they get stopped out? Ah, shit, I didn't really see what happened there. All right, we definitely look. I mean, definitely something, a bit of a spike, but not a massive spike in volume, not a huge amount. I'm going to assume they're out. I feel like, actually, no, I feel they're still in the market. I think they're looking for a bigger position here. And it happened twice, the same trade, boom, boom. I think it's the same person. I still think there will be something that will happen, and you're gonna get that. You're gonna something will be announced. I think it is someone playing. I just don't know how. I just don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know where their stop is, and I'm not prepared anymore to hold. It's a tough one. It's a very. I mean, we just, what was that? -4, and then we got to positive and then -1. I'm just trying to see if I see anything really obvious here. But at this moment in time, I'm not seeing anything that would indicate there's a crazy buyer in the market or anything. Nothing looks truly suspicious here. We had a bunch of take profits. Sellers are still willing to come in. There's a bit of buying, but it's nothing, major. This looks very normal. This looks very, very normal. There's nothing suspicious, nothing weird about any of this. This looks very normal. They must have exited by now. Surely. Unless that volume that came in near the lows wasn't the same entity. It was just other people jumping in. Could have been that. I mean, that's more than possible. No, look, there's a lot of stops. There we saw that big spike in volume. That was stop losses getting triggered in the book there. That big chunk in volume, how it just instantly appeared. Those are buyers getting stopped out, potentially some sellers taking profit. I mean, let's find out. Would that make sense in terms of take profit? If we go back in time and look on the left, is there like an obvious low or something? Nothing too obvious. I mean, we're getting near lows, but I don't think it's necessarily take profits. I think it's definitely stops getting triggered. Just very wide. Yeah, it could have just been an intraday trader. Could have been someone who's just holding. I don't know. Every time I try and copy what I think is insider trading, like last time, the other day when we did it, and I got out, a couple hours later, then something happened. The market shot up like crazy. And I saw it later, and I was like, fuck's sake. But then again, I don't know if that was the same trader, if that was just, could have been coincidence, right? Doesn't mean anything. So I don't know. This is definitely, all this volume here is majority stops, and it's not really real sellers. Here we got, I would say, some sellers getting trailed out for the most part. I wouldn't really call this true buy pressure yet. So we had stops or take profits, trailed, and now we want to see the next few candles. I would say anything within that region, anything from here to here is going to be real volume. So that's real sellers, real bit of buying. That is actually a lot of decent buying. Again, I did see nice chunks there though. I did see a nice chunk of buying happening. But they got absorbed. They got taken out quite quickly. Didn't quite hold. Nah. Sellers keep coming in. That's a lot of sellers, but if they fail to get it lower and buyers can come in above them, it's not happening. Not happening. Not happening. They may be swing traders and we are scalping. Exactly, Nana. Yeah. I think it was more of a longer term position. In that case, it's very hard to track where they are. You can really only track the scalpers. You can't really track swing traders too well. But something interesting is happening here, though. There's a little battle between sellers aren't coming that aggressively anymore. They're not willing to short much lower down. Buyers are coming in far more aggressive than the sellers. They could, again, we could have another little retracement up, I think. I've kind of missed it there. But I think I missed the entry. The entry really was. Yeah, you could have potentially, but it really depends how. You just saw that kind of, sellers laid off the gas a bit. But there's a lot of pockets of volume that could get squeezed. These guys. There's a lot of volume here that could potentially get squeezed out. All right, I missed that one. That was a bit annoying. But yeah, you saw it again. Just here, something was like the sellers just gave up for a little while, and you saw the buyers were just coming in with bigger chunks in one go, and by the time it just. Now I don't want to chase it because naturally, you're seeing that's actually real buying here. That's legit buying right there. That is legit buying. I don't want to chase it, but at the same time, that is a lot of legit buying. I'm going to go in long again. Fuck the TP for now. Because those guys here came in super aggressive and they were real buyers. That wasn't stops because they would have got taken out here. So if we can stay above those buyers, a big move could happen. I got a very bad price here, truth be told. But I'll just put my stop below that candle. Because it really comes down to, these buyers here. If these buyers, they came in super aggressive, all in one go, they're real buyers, they're not stop losses, nothing like that. I need to see these buyers really defend. Like this could very well be, sellers from the move down getting out, like that 1,000. Because it's very hard to tell. Because it's really hard to tell. Do you know what I mean? But these guys were willing to buy very high up at the time, right? Literally at the high that was, just made. They were willing to come in very aggressive here. So it's really down to these guys. I need to see these guys defend. And not drop out. Hopefully, they can actually defend here. It looks like they might just fail. Where's my stop? So my stop is the spread is a little bit big, but it's fine. Who cares? If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But it looks like they're partially some buyers got dropped out there. You see how it spiked to 500? That's not a good sign. That means some of the buyers in this region have decided to exit rather than add. If they're exiting and not adding, I mean, there are some fresh buyers coming in, but they're coming in, trickling in. They're not coming in chunks. So I don't think this is going to happen. I think this is, unfortunately, I need to see a big chunk. All right, 100. Still little, though. Nothing great. But I don't like the fact that they exited. These freaking buyers here. I don't know where, but look, it could be anyone around here, basically. To be fair, it could be guys from here. Got out kind of just before break even. That could be potential. But either way, a bunch of buyers decided to exit, which is not good. Which is not good at all. It needs to be. I'm still hoping that some of these buyers, these original buyers here, are gonna defend. They'll be in drawdown right now, so it's not looking good. Imagine. I mean, where their stop's going to be. If they're scalpers, probably not. Pretty much where my stop is. So they need to come in and defend their position if they want want to get this market up, right? You're looking at something like that. But it looks like they might. They're just not. Some of them coming in again, buyers. That was a little bit of a chunk in buy volume, that 2-3, because that was, I can't remember exactly the number, but it wasn't nowhere near 200, and it just came in one big chunk to 200. They're not too big, but there is definitely some defensive play happening, but the sellers are freaking fighting it. Sellers will manage to actually get below a big chunk. Oh, there's news. That's definitely news. It was insider trading. It fucking was insider trading. I knew it, you bastard. I fucking knew there was something dodgy going on. You absolute... All right, well, let's see if this can keep going. Is that all it's going to give us? Or is it going to give us a bit more? I don't know what the news is yet. But you saw actually the buyers enter a little bit before it actually happened. We saw a big chunk of buyers come in. People did know beforehand, but I don't know what it is. But this is not really moving that much. I kind of expected a bit more, to be honest. Surely, surely all that buying wasn't for nothing, right? It's going to be a bit more of a bigger move. Come on, financial juice. Update. Show me what it is. Does anyone... this is not looking good, man. Don't tell me that's the only reaction, because that is a piss take. If that's the reaction, that is a piss take. I expected something bigger with the amount of contracts that were coming in. Look at that. Within the candles, 8,000 already. Come on. Are you kidding me? Surely, whatever it was, it's got to have a bigger reaction. But if that's the reaction, that's the reaction. You don't know how big the reaction is going to be, right? Ah, this ain't good, man. This really isn't good. Are you freaking kidding me, guys? Because look, a lot of that sell volume is going to be buyers getting the frick out, right? The reaction occurred, they're jumping out. So a lot of buyers are already out the market. And I think that's all it will give us. But then again, if it was insider trading, it happened all the way up here. Surely, I mean, look, here we go. Diplomatic and indirect channels of talks on the US are not closed. Tehran. Is that it? I can't imagine that was it. This is not looking good. It looks like sellers are just going to take control again. I mean, there's a bit of buyers at the bottom, but that was it. 280. There's not really massive buy chunks coming in. I think that's all it is. I think that's it, guys. I don't think there's going to be anything more. And that was the reaction. That was it. It was a bit anticlimactic. I thought it was going to be a bit more than that, but just seeing if buyers are willing to try and use the momentum of what just happened to try and buy up. There's 400, so there's a bit of aggressive buying coming in, which is good. At least we can start trading it now just based on order flow rather than like, oh, this is news or something. So I just want to see, are sellers going to keep coming back in? What's the deal here? 170, 230, 300. So there's bigger chunks of buyers coming in, which is good. So I'm happy to hold it for now. 220, back to 180, 200, 160. So there's about 40 on the sell side. Bang, there was a big chunk of buyers. Good. Big chunk of sellers there. We drop them back down to minus 15. Good. Come on, keep dropping them. More sellers willing to come in. Sellers are still very aggressive, but buyers are buying it up. You see bigger chunks. The buy chunks are very small now. They're not big anymore. Sell chunks are bigger, which is not great. Okay. There you go. 120, 100, 140. That's 75. Oh, back down to sell chunks are bigger. 120, 130, 39, 46. Back down to 4, 2. I need to see big chunks from the buyers. Oh, that was a big sell chunk there, which is not good. It looks like buyers just don't have it. I'm going to get out. They just don't have it. They're not doing it. It's an annoying day today. It's a very annoying day. Sammy, I thought you used to scalp only low. Yeah, low volume knows. I definitely do. But lately, it just hasn't been great because of how crazy the market's been. I've kind of been more interested in the fundamentals and just being very kind of cautious with the volume coming in. It's just been a whole different market than how it normally is, and it's going to keep being like that until until the war's over, essentially. I must say I'm really enjoying your stream of thoughts in real time. Very informative. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Still holding long at break even. Good stuff, Neil. Yeah, what we're seeing today has been like, it's very hard today to kind of point out what is suspicious and what is not. There just wasn't, I don't know. Like the top of the range here, this area here, I still stand by saying that this was suspicious. That and that. Yes, it was people defending their stops, but that was far too aggressive the way they did it, right? They never exited the market on the way down. We never saw their stops get hit in any way. Then we saw again bit of buying, so we jumped in. Then something came out, news release, but it didn't have that big of a reaction. And now buyers are again not really interested in buying. At least not massively. They just weren't coming in aggressive chunks. To me, what it feels like, because look, if we look at the sellers have been far more aggressive than buyers in general, I would say. But if you actually look at accumulative volume, we're definitely more on the buy side. That means there has been more buying than there has been selling, yet we've drifted down, right? Which in itself makes there's like a big divergence today. We've gone down, yet there's more buyers in the market. Now, why would that be? So we've got to apply logic to that, right? So the only logical conclusion you can come up with that there's more buyers in the market, but we're going down, is to do with absorption. That's the only logical. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, what I think. There will only be more buyers Yeah. Okay, what I think is going on, I think there's absorption, right? We have aggressive buyers, far more aggressive buyers, right? Based on the cumulative volume. Yet there has to be, the only way the market hasn't gone up in conjunction with the volume is because in the book there has to be a shit ton of sell limits. Someone passively keep absorbing every time there's buyers, they get absorbed. Like up here, big chunk of buyers, they get absorbed somewhere, right? And it slows them down. And then a bit of aggressive selling comes in and it kind of trickles it back down. And then there's a big aggressive buyer getting absorbed again. So all the buy volume, there has to be an opposite trade, and that's the sell limits absorbing all the aggressive buy volume, right? So even during a news candle, it doesn't actually travel much because it's, think about how much absorption that's going on, right? 8,000 contracts delta came in and it pushed it up how much? 20 points for 8,000 contracts. That's ridiculous, right? So that means there was a shit ton of sell limits in the book, basically slowing down the movement, absorbing most of the buyers in the market. Now the question is, why is there so many sell limits in the market? It feels like that is more classical insider trading, right? So the way insider trading classically usually happens is it's done passively. You know, you fill the book with the orders that you want, and you let the market execute your orders. And, you know, you're now like whoever had all these sell limits in the market, they're building up a massive position, right? Huge position they're building, a big sell order they're building up. I think I'm betting short now. The more I think about it, the more I am starting to think there's got to be a giant whale in this market. There has to be. There freaking has to be. If 8,000 contracts could only get it 20 points up, there's got to be a big whale absorbing everything. And that means they're building up a sell position. If they're building up a sell position, why? Why is there someone building a giant passive sell position in this market? Because they probably think they probably know something is going to happen. That is the only. Apparently, the diplomatic channels are not closed. Send me on Apex if they say eval expire on the 8th. Is that end of day? Yeah, it would be end of day. Yeah. I hope you guys kind of get my logic here. It's just kind of hit me now, but something. It hit me. It has to be. It has to be someone building up a sell order. That's passively someone is building up a sell order. It's the only possible way. The fact that this candle wasn't bigger with 8,000 contracts wasn't big enough. Like that was a tiny candle in comparison to its volume. The only way that can occur is if there was a lot of sell limits in the book and it cleared, and it held back the momentum of the candle essentially. Because look, there's always aggressive buyers coming in. And I keep looking at the aggressive buyers being like, oh, look how aggressive they are. But I'm not looking at the result versus I am longer term. I think I think whatever's going to happen with Iran, I think there's going to be something's just come out. Situation in Iran, Kharg Island under control, no damage to infrastructure after the US Israeli attack. Okay. I think, let me try and count how many orders we've got since the open. Shit, what am I doing? What is this? So opened at plus 700. So since the open, the cumulative was plus 700. Now the cumulative is plus 10,000, and we have dropped how much since the open? 44 points down, with the absolute low being 60 points down, yet there's been 10,000 more buyers. There is a fucking giant sell limit in the order. There is a giant seller building up passively a big order. They know something's going to happen. I'm calling it now. This is insider. It has to be. This is such a weird divergence right now. Someone is holding back all the buys, absorbing all the buy pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if something, negative with Iran comes out. There is no deal, ceasefire doesn't exist, whatever, blah, 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 and this market plummets down. Because the volume to what you're seeing is suspicious. Does that make sense? Don't get me wrong, divergence can happen, but it happens because there's usually, it's absorption. It's the only way. If there wasn't a large amount of absorption, this market, theoretically, if it was balanced, 10,000 extra contracts we should be trading up here somewhere. Should have gone up. Do you know what I mean? 10,000 extra buyers have come in. It should have gone up. The only reason it hasn't gone up, it's actually gone down, is because there's been a lot of sell limits in the book. There's going to be something. Escalation, something. There's going to be negative news coming out. Because what is the current situation, right? It's all about the negotiations right now. It was something about end of day I saw earlier. Where was it? I saw something about end of day. Where is it? No. That was that. I'm sure I saw somewhere earlier that because look, they already rejected it earlier, any temporary ceasefire, but there's still talks of because I think it's Pakistan that's mediating it or something like that. If I correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely saw something earlier about end of day, end of where the fuck was it? I don't know if I'm imagining it now, but I'm sure I saw it. Yeah, 8 p.m. attack. I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere. Either way, doesn't really matter. There's a timeline to it somewhere, and I'm pretty sure it's the end of this day. I think it's going to be, basically, there won't be a ceasefire. Nothing's going to be. Tuesday, 8 p.m. deadline. After that, bridges power. Oh, okay, that's it. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Gotcha. It's Tuesday, yeah, right. Okay, so today, I think basically it's because someone's building up a huge short passively. I'm going to follow the volume, right? Something I think it's going to be negative. I don't think it's going to be good, because I mean, look, nothing is guaranteed, right? The people building up this short could be completely wrong, possible, but they're, whoever they are, they have a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. You know, they've absorbed a lot of buy volume, so that, yeah, I think boom, something's going to happen. Escalation. There's not going to be peace, and it's going to drop. That's my prediction. All this buy volume we're seeing come in, I think that's more short term. You know, people expecting, like, because it's still going to go up here and there, but I don't think. I mean, just look how much buy volume is coming in. Just look from here. We were at negative. Sorry, we were plus 8,000 delta. Now we're at 12,000. That's 4,000 freaking extra buy contracts have come in just here alone. And what we've drifted up, but have we really gone up? Do you know what I mean? Has this been really a big upward move? No. This has been 12 points. It's a joke. This is absorption, massive amounts of absorption right now. Whereas if you compare it with the sell side of similar volume, right? I mean, when the sellers come in, it just dropped the market like crazy, because there's no one really absorbing on the sell side. There isn't much passive absorption on the sell side. It's all, no one's like passively buying. Everyone's passively selling. We're going down. Oof. I mean, that was a big chunk of sell volume that came in. All right, let's see what's going on. If I had a ton of money, I would buy and sell at suspicious times just to mess with Sammy's head. Oh, you absolutely would. You absolutely would. Nothing really. I mean, that is a bit suspicious. If that's not, I feel that was more news based, but I don't really see much on financial juice right now. But it does take a while to actually load, and nothing yet. All right, fair enough. I don't know, guys, but I'm betting we're going down. I'm betting we're going down. I don't think it's going to be good. I mean, I hope I'm actually wrong, because that just means this war will be dragged out even longer. So I actually hope I'm completely wrong and everything goes good and everything goes back up and everyone becomes best friends again, and that would be great. Live in a ideal world, but I think unfortunately this is probably not the case. Not the case. I don't know what that spike was. Nothing really has come out, so that could be. In fact, let's look at let's go on the clusters, make it one. See if we can spot where they start. Yeah, right there. They placed their trade around here. This could be, if this isn't news related, this is someone might be an idiot who's just shorted the market, doing insider trading, but has done it obvious again. Whereas someone a bit inexperienced, maybe got a bit of information, has just shorted it aggressively, so it becomes really obvious in hindsight if it wasn't a news reaction. Because normally it's done passively, very hard to kind of, it doesn't look obvious when it's passive. But we have had like one entity in the market that's just been so a little bit too obvious, you know, recently. And then always in hindsight, you can see them clear as day in the market, and you're like, oh, that person again. Probably Baron took profit because that spike. Baron in the market. I wouldn't be surprised. This is the reality. Because let's be honest, he can make it as obvious as what's going to happen to him. Is he going to get arrested? Come on, like, do you know what I mean? Is anything actually going to happen to him other than make a lot of money? So, yeah, nothing will happen to him. And rather than do it passively and do it subtly, they just, you know, enter in one big chunk. Who cares? But yeah, nothing's come out. So that wasn't actually news by the looks of it. That was again. All right. Is it suspicious? A little bit. But we are right by that high. And for Peter and Nana, there is VWAP right there. So maybe, you know, not the most suspicious move. Like the area wasn't that suspicious to short there. But the volume is definitely suspicious. All in one chunk, 2,600 on Delta, just in one go. It is a bit suspicious. I feel like, again, it could be insider trading. I don't want to chase it. I don't want to go in short and be like, I'm going to regret it because I bet this is the one which freaking is, you know, spot on. But it's fine. I'm going to leave it there. This market's got it's too stressy for me. But guys, I'm going to call it there, I think. But I'm going to keep my eye on the market for the rest of the day, just here and there. And I want to see later on, do we get a huge sell-off? Do we get something really negative? Because I'm telling you now, something is looking a bit fishy. This divergence is fishy as hell. 10,000 contracts positive. We've gone down. It is fishy. There is absorption. Lots of it. Doesn't make sense. So we'll see. We'll see. All will be revealed later on, I guess. But everyone, thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow again. And yeah, we'll pick up where we left off. Have a good one all. Take care. See you all tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye-bye.